Welcome to Momentum Monday. Today is November 7th, 2021. Howard, are you still using your Peloton?
Yeah, I am stopped out of my Peloton. It's going to take a while for that company to figure out next stages of growth, and I just don't have the patience at this age. I'm got it wrong. Got a few wrong recently. We can pull up some of the price action. It's interesting. It's a market of stocks for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's earnings season, so it's kind of normal to see the occasional blow up like Peloton and Zillow last week. But
yeah, I mean, I think both are experiencing. Those aren't. You don't come back from these so quickly. There's a lot of trust gone, a lot of momentum gone. Both great companies, both great brands, but there's too many good choices out there, and people won't rush back into these. Is my opinion. I've seen this happen too many times, and it's one thing to lose momentum; it's another thing to lose trust on top of it. So they got a lot of work to do, both companies.
yeah, other than that, I mean, everything is hitting on all cylinders, basically.
Yeah. So that's the other thing. I said when the market's working, and you got to get out of your week. There was definitely some telegraphing of these being weak relative to some of the stronger stocks like Lulu. Just sometimes I just read the tea leaves wrong on that. Yeah, but small caps working. What else?
I mean, everything else is working. So small caps, they just broke out from an 8-month base, and once they broke out, they didn't look back. They just kept going. This is a weekly chart, by the way. Let me show a daily for a better understanding of what's going on. And it's not just that. I mean, also the S&P 500 is also keeps making all-time highs every single day for the past couple of weeks. It seems like someone was expecting that infrastructure bill to pass as it did Friday night. So on Monday, it'll be interesting to see if we'll probably see some gap up in some of the infrastructure plays like steel and some others. So it'll be curious to see if there will be like a sell the news event or just a continuation. Obviously, Nasdaq 100 super strong, led by the mega cap companies, like the top 7 companies in the Nasdaq 100. The FANGs, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Nvidia, Google, and Microsoft and Tesla. Those 7, they account for more than 50% of the Nasdaq 100. And
how much?
50, more than 50, more than half.
Whoa.
And about, I think, 25% of the S&P 500. So they're like a substantial part of those indices and those big 7 companies. And then be leading it, Nvidia, look at this, basically acceleration higher. It's not even earnings related. Like in a bull market, almost any news is good news.
Give me a weekly on
and now they're talking about the metaverse wars and how Nvidia is positioned to benefit out of them. And you see obviously a big reason behind those big daily move is the so-called gamma squeeze, when we see more volume in daily options than in the actual stocks like Nvidia, Tesla. They're trading two to three times more volume in their options than in their stock. So that's definitely have an impact. There are a lot of intraday traders that are using weekly options.
Yeah.
Kind of, that's why we're seeing those big one-day moves. Often don't follow through. But yeah, that's a new phenomenon, and that has completely changed the market. And look at what happened, for example, with Avis car, which kind of went from 170 to 500 in one day on their earnings day. Yeah, it was earnings day, but it's not that the earnings were that amazing. I think it was just a lot of short squeeze and a gamma squeeze, basically. So this is happening more and more. So the market's so hot right now that all the meme stocks are kind of waking up. I don't know, it's probably like a short-term phenomenon, but they're kind of starting to pop up here and there, like Bed Bath and Beyond, and GME, and AMC, and BlackBerry. They're starting to pop up, and even the biggest stocks this year, and maybe not only this year, cannabis stocks, even they're starting to wake up, which is interesting.
Well, that's going to be more legal. There's some news on Friday regarding.
It wasn't really news; it's more like a rumor, but it might be enough for this market. It seems like they leaked them at the right moment.
You can't listen. I mean, you have major blowups, and the market shakes off. That's healthy, right? Like it's not, if you're going to pick stocks, you got to pick the right stocks. And
or just own the indices, because they keep going higher. I mean, bull markets tend to correct through sector rotation, so we might see some sectors, pulling back 5-10%, while the indices just remain near all-time highs. This is kind of normal for bull markets. So just own a little bit of index, maybe 20-30% in index, and then the rest be more active with it in individual stocks. Obviously, that's a personal choice.
The indexes are sure working, and then you have.
They're rebalancing every year. They're rebalancing all of those. The Nasdaq 100, the S&P 500. They are kicking out the losers every year, and they're introducing new stocks. That's why they're working, over time.
Yeah, as long as the money's flowing in, and we continue to have U.S. is, as much as we complain about money printing and everything, China makes the U.S. look great.
Yeah, look at this breakdown. It continues to be super weak. And the other big news from last week was that Pfizer antiviral drug results. They said 89% effective at preventing hospitalization, which is, if it's true, it's a big deal. And that's why we saw the vaccine and all the stay-at-home stocks, sell off, and then anything else that is related to reopening, it just broke out.
Yeah, no. I mean, I just am shocked by some of the price action. I've been like Simon Properties, which I was playing as a reopening play. Now it's at all-time highs.
In that field is just, I mean, they made all-time highs a long time ago. They just keep going higher.
No, Simon, I think, has actually gone back to all-time highs. That's just
almost, not like very close.
That is blowing my mind. So, like I said, I mean, the metaverse narrative and the crypto narrative are in control. The Pfizer news is just great news, right? Like there's a lot of things the money printing in this bull market have solved. One of them is vaccines and this push for science, right? And Pfizer's win may be bad for Moderna, but in the end, all this money flooding in was good for Moderna, was good for biotech. And, we're going to have wow, that's a big sell-off. Whoa, I didn't notice that. So that's down like 60%.
Yeah, from 500 to, to 250, so 50%.
Yeah, I don't follow the biotechs close enough. Whoa, that is a serious, I mean, there are some serious sell-off.
They had a gigantic move, Howard, so it's kind of normal.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, that's a big, that's a big momentum side. And then what would be the most interesting story of the week, obviously, is Elon Musk can't help himself move markets. Here on a Saturday, he put his stocks, he put the idea of selling 10% of his stock, which is genius in the sense that he probably would be thrilled to take profits now and pay the taxes. And now he's got the cover of the government to blame it on. I mean, I can't imagine being counsel at this company. It just feels like there's no rules, right? It feels like the markets, I can't, we've just had years of neglect of people following the rules and pushing the SEC around, from crypto to venture capitalists to money printing. to social networks, to, chat apps that, are encrypted. So, everybody has inside information in this era. And it's kind of like, then you throw in the weekly options, and I'm rethinking, like I've written about it, I have to rethink everything about investing. Like if you throw in some of these crazy moves, like you see at Avis, like it's just, at some point the greed is going to collapse on itself here. And I just, so many things seem broken, but like exciting for young people to play around. But really broken market structure stuff, and it could be. I just can't explain it personally.
Yeah. It's the golden age for speculation and
Yeah.
for creative people and for founders and people who like to hustle. But obviously, you need to learn some basic rules about risk management.
No, I mean the market structures are changing. I mean, I think it was the CME cut $1 billion deal with Google to move them to the cloud. Finally, think about these companies that were built on premise forever, and they're finally now spending the money. That's going to be that could be a massive breakout in the making there too, as they move to the cloud, right? So I think you're just seeing the money is seeking risk. There's no shame out there, both, in the media and in the markets. And rules are being kind of rewritten about how to value things in an inflationary environment. So it's really fascinating. And companies that don't have organic growth, right, or the hint of organic growth slowing, are going to get slaughtered. Especially if the valuations are high, as we're seeing with Moderna. It was priced for perfection, assuming the pharmaceutical companies were lame duck companies. And Mr. Market still will do its thing for those lazy people who just think these stocks go up forever. Guilty as charged in Peloton and even Zillow. So you got to stay on your toes. You've got to pay attention to a relative strength and price volume, especially if you want to try and beat the markets, right? Because in this type of rising environment, the indices are doing damn good, owning the indexes with no cost. So the thrill of victory of some of these stock moves is incredible for those people paying attention. And then for the average person, the indexes are providing some great growth.
Yeah,
what other sectors?
What as well? Yeah.
But Tesla's going to be an interesting story to watch. We'll see. Like, I mean, pretty genius move this weekend. Pretty evil, but pretty.
Yeah, and now we're having kind of another Tesla. I mean, Lucid.
Wow. Yeah, that was a SPAC, right?
Yeah, it used to be a SPAC. It's kind of setting up. I think there is a big IPO like Rivian coming up this week, so it might be kind of indirect play on it. And as I said, look at the huge volume. This thing is trading an insane amount of volume in stocks and in options. And I wouldn't be surprised if it tests its all-time high. And obviously, valuation-wise, doesn't make any sense. But this market can do anything in the short term.
Yeah, and then obviously the crypto stocks are just busting at the seams. I've been talking about this for months, but they have an amazing bid underneath them. People are jockeying. Everybody's writing their own kind of thesis about how to value these right now. So it's early days. Yeah. I mean, I'm reading some wild threads on how, and again, these are self-fulfilling stories right now. Like everybody's using the increased valuation to sell a higher increased valuation. So,
yeah,
I'm enjoying some of these trends that I'm seeing in crypto, but at some point people will take profits. That's what I don't think people understand. At some point,
people need to pay taxes as well.
Yeah.
So,
at some point, people need to pay taxes. At some point, people fear the government. At some point, they even Elon Musk is, unless you're a master manipulator like Elon Musk, um, there's Ethereum. What is that? Basically, all-time highs on the trust.
Yeah, basically. I mean, and they already made, I think, all-time highs this week.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
And then just from Helium to Solana, there's just so many winners out
all
there.
of them on fire. Obviously, they're like 50 or so, let's say, main cryptocurrencies, that seems like strong projects that people are following, but there are also like another 14,000, that many of which are frauds.
Yeah.
Luckily, most of the people in the US don't have access to them, so they don't get burned. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of fraud in that. There's no regulations, so people need to be careful.
Yeah, people need to be careful, but man, like I said, like for those paying attention, there's just tremendous opportunities.
Yeah.
But at the same time, these are the type of markets that get you distracted with the sexy moves. But there's been nothing wrong with owning indexes this year in hindsight.
Yeah.
They are their own trend following machines, just a little bit different, a little bit
they are, yeah.
funkier. That blew my mind about the stat about those 7 companies being 50% of the.
Oh yeah, it's insane, and they might grow. It might even grow.
Yeah.
More.
So, and that's why people, I think, need crypto exposure, right? Like as these behemoths consume the economy and the global economy, it's almost like Amazon used to be a hedge on your retail, and now it seems like crypto's a hedge on your Facebooks and centralized.
Yeah, I wonder if
I mean, in a bull market it's just bananas, but like it's almost like crypto's a hedge on the NASDAQ, and at some level is acting like gold. If you look at gold the last 10 years versus technology,
kind of flat.
You're basically flat.
But
obviously that's someone pointed out that if so there was a huge move that gold's up, I don't know, in the last 20 years about 300%.
Yeah.
If we pulled up the Qs, what are they up in the last 20 years?
Oh, a lot more than that.
I don't think so. Oh yeah, way more.
It just depends. I mean, obviously that's normal.
Yeah. So I think there's something to be said about digital. There's more trust in the digital supply than there is in the physical supply of gold. Obviously, gold, as a jewelry is something, but I mean, there's something broken with respect to how people are treating some of these commodities.
Well, at this point, Bitcoin is basically a religion, the so-called digital gold, and Ethereum is like, it's a completely new, software language that people can build on. So at some point, I would not be surprised if Ethereum actually becomes part of the Nasdaq 100. Kind of makes sense. At some point. So.
Yeah, very exciting. I mean, again, I'm just reading and having my mind blown by the price action. I could only react to the price action. The fundamentals have lost me for years and years. I haven't been focused on the fundamentals for years and years, but I think watching Zillow and some of these stocks blow up, and I look at Nike and Lulu, and
I know, crazy all-time high. So look at this one, Planet Fitness.
That's a reopening play, obviously.
Yeah, look at it long term though. Like super fascinating business. It's like a super cheap gym, and look how it look at their stocks.
Yeah,
the past 5-6 years.
There's a million ways to skin these trends, and some of them are. I wonder if Nautilus got hit on this. That had been running in with Peloton. I wonder if that got hit.
The symbol?
I think it's NLS.
Yeah.
It was like
oh
my goodness, yeah. So that was, what's bad for Peloton is worse for Nautilus. So we'll see, those poser stocks probably never come back.
Yeah, most trends are not forever. There are very few trends that are like 20, 30 years.
Yeah, this 8 to, I mean, even rethinking my 8 to 80, right? In a world where you have metaverse and so much growth on the fringes, is there such a thing as, brands that appeal to 8 to 80-year-olds anymore? Because it's so fragmented. The internet's fragmented so many things. Obviously, Nike continues to work. Had a big sellout, but came right back off of it to all-time highs. So it's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, there's something else going on with Peloton. And it could just be, that it just hasn't been able to grow outside of its niche. So really interesting markets. And how are you playing it, Ivan? You're just obviously long.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just taking positions, swing positions, intraday positions.
Anything on the short side? Anything you're looking at on the short side?
I mean, yeah, all of the stay-at-home stocks are looking weak. They might have followed through to the downside, but when the market is so strong, I rather focus my efforts on the long side, because this is where you'll make more money. So there's time to be focused on the short side, when the whole market is in correction. So almost anything you touch will fall. This is when you should be short. Right now, it makes more sense.
Seasonally, it's also a strong time of the market. November
it is. Obviously, as I said, we are currently, the FOMO currently is pretty high. So there might be a rug pull from here until the end of the year. But for the most part, I think dips will continue to get bought. Even the Fed came out this week and said, we're starting to taper, which is a joke. They continue to buy every month.
What did rates do last week?
They actually fell, interestingly, and treasuries went up a little bit, which means rates went down. This is why financials were kind of weak last week. That's why I'm saying there's a constant rotation within the whole market.
Yeah, leading towards surprises where the options activity is for the young gamers and to the metaverse right now in crypto. So the outlier, gamma things with Hertz and whatever, they're over my pay grade, and I don't want to fart around in broken businesses, but the kids are having fun with it. But I think for the people that are trying to find great companies, it feels like decentralization, software, metaverse, the semiconductors have defied all odds because it's no longer cyclical in a world where they're in everything.
They are, yeah.
And they can, and they now are powering a whole new generation of mining and software.
Yeah.
So
a lot of strong moves in semis, definitely. A little bit extended as a sector. I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a short-term pullback.
A little extended, but these are bullish moves.
But long-term, a lot of demand.
But again, the market, when you overpay it like Moderna, you can get surprised quickly when news churns.
Well, it's the oldest story in the world.
Everything looked great, right?
It's normal for those type of stock to go down 50, even 80%. It happens to most momentum stocks. It's just nothing surprising. They always overshoot to the upside. When they're up 300%, you think, they're too expensive, and then they go up 1,000%.
Yeah, look at those earnings estimates. Trading at 10 times earnings.
Insane. I mean, here
if those numbers are half correct.
So the numbers are much bigger than what they show here. That's why it says plus 999, because it's more than 1,000, and the market just doesn't show a number more than 1,000, but it's a little bigger than that. Look at this.
This may be one of those brands that you buy on these dips. It's just very hard for me.
Obviously, if they come up with other mRNA solutions to other diseases and problems, this stock probably could be 1,000 or 2,000.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Have a great week.
You too, Howard.
We'll see you next week, everybody.
Yeah.